What is going on, everybody? It's Tuesday. It's 9 o'clock Eastern, and it's time for Zero Hour. If you're new here to the channel, welcome on in. Thank you very much. I'm your host, Extra Zero, and I try to go over all of the coolest Transformers news in about an hour or so. I should say the coolest news of the week because, man, we got a lot of news coming. And we got a lot of stuff to talk about tonight. So before we get into it, if you're watching me here live on YouTube, thank you very much. I wouldn't be able to do this show without all of you awesome people who tune in each and every week and come check the channel out, whether you're watching me here live or watching me here on the replay. I just want to let you know, I appreciate everybody for dropping by. If you like what I'm doing over here, make sure you hit that like button because it does help me out in the algorithm. And if you're not already subscribed, hopefully tonight's the night that I earn your subscription. So if you do subscribe, hit that notification bell because I do have some additional content that I'm working on. I know I say that a lot, but I kind of gave Barry the lead last week. If I have a daughter on the way in February, so I do have a lot of stuff going on at home. So I'll probably try and get some more shorts out. The last short I did pretty well. I have a collection tour coming. I still need to edit the video from when Lance was here together with him and I going to a couple local spots as well as the collector hangout. And I also owe you all the collection tour. So I apologize for dragging my feet on those, but hopefully everybody's understanding and hopefully you enjoyed the videos when they do come out. I know I kind of sound like a broken record with those, but I've got some other stuff I'm editing for Mazza and for the Gronk Squad channel. So I'm trying to get those out ASAP. So I do have a little bit on my plate, but hopefully things even out and I get stuff rolling on this channel relatively soon. Before we get into things, I want to urge everybody, when you're done watching me here, my good buddy, I got to give him a shout out. You know him, you love him, Deluxe Baldwin. He is just kind of a pillar of the community, the Transformers community, and he actually had something really awesome happen to him where the company Blitzway, who does the really high-end Voltrons, they happened to send him a preview of their new Legendary Defender, the Carbonics series, the 10th anniversary of the Netflix Voltron. So go check out that review. I think it's his first sponsored review, and I'm really, really stoked for him because it's like a $600 Voltron. And he gets to be amongst the first reviewers to take a look. So go show my dude some love. He puts in a lot of hard work for his reviews and his discussions, and he's a great friend. So, definitely go show him some love if you haven't already. I posted it over on my Twitter. I'll put a link in the description as well. And I'm really happy for him. It was a cool review, and he definitely delivered on it, and I can't think of a better person to get an early sample of a figure that awesome. He definitely well deserved. But before we get into it and say hi to chat, I guess because we do have quite a bit of news to talk about. I think we'll knock out one of my favorite segments, this week's Figure of the Week. And this week's Figure of the Week is a figure that came out during TFCon Toronto. That is the Mastermind Creations Fortiflex. Or is it Fortifex? I guess it's Fortifex. But it's their take on a masterpiece scaled, I believe he was Armor Hide in Robots in Disguise, the 2000 series, or the 2001 in the States series. It was also called Car Robots in Japan. But yeah, this is just a straight up repaint. I think there's, I haven't compared it to their Brawl. I think it's got a different chest and maybe some tweaks to the head. It looks kind of like the same head, but I gotta admit, like, this color scheme is really striking. And what I love about MMC is the materials they use. This is a big, chunky bot with all the articulation you could want. He's got ab crunch. He's got double jointed elbows. The head can look up, look down, it's got a little bit of attitude because it's on a ball joint. Of course, some people might complain about the hands. It's got the Takara Tomy style hands, but wrist rotation, waist rotation, you can kick all the way front, back, out to the sides. And I never got Ruination when Robots in Disguise came out, because when they brought him out in the States, they changed his color scheme. And back then, I had to be choosy, and I was like, I don't really want a reissue of a Bruticus. But I did like how he looked in the show. I wanted updated molds, because I liked the fact that they were back in Robots in Disguise. They were doing like these really intricate characters, and then they would toss in like a G2 reissue, a G1 reissue, like the like some of the mini bots, the spy changers and all. And then we got, I did get Scourge or Black Convoy, whatever you want to call them, because that was, you had to get that one. That one just looks so awesome. But I passed on these. So it's really cool that all these years later, MMC is doing. It's a no-brainer to repaint their MP scaled Combaticons into the Ruination set. But it's cool to finally have like really, really articulated figures that kind of fit the build. They're going to be big. They're going to look great next to that Omega Prime. And thanks again, G Tony, because I really love having that guy in my collection. Then got a really wicked knee bend on this guy. MMC just does really good figures all around. I'm not going to transform him on camera because it's simple, but it would take me a minute. But a lot of cool details for the tank, like you got extending barrel for the tank. You can actually open up these gunner seats, which is really cool. And he doesn't have functional treads, but they gave him wheels. So all around, this is a good one. If you're completing the Assaultus set, this is a really, really good one. I like it. I thought this was going to be boring. I thought it was going to be a boring color scheme, but in hand, I don't know, something about it just really works and pops. I think a lot of it has to do with the fact that I really love this bronze visor they gave him. And I have seen the completed Assaultus set because they've had them at the at TFCon Baltimore, and just a really, really neat looking set all around. I'm hopeful, because again, this I pre-ordered this from Toy Dojo, actually prepaid for it back in July, and they just got around to sending this. So I'm hopeful that one of my friends that's going to TFCon Chicago is going to be able to snag me one and ship me one, so I don't have to wait until next year, because I really want to get this guy combined up into Ruination. So, but yeah, all around, even as a one-off, I really do like these colors. And again, as I said, I thought he was going to be really boring, but I like him. And of course, you can see I wasted no time getting a Toy Hacks decal on him. That I'm going Japanese with those. I forget what they called them in Japan. Here in the States, they actually just digitally altered those upside down G2 logos into Decepticon logos, but now I'm going Japanese on them. But yeah, that's my figure of the week. That is the MMC Fortifex, part of the Assaultus set. So yeah, definitely looking forward to getting that complete, and I think it's going to be awesome. And also too, I never combined up my for the display because the combined mode is too small. But I think this is going to look just right with Omega Prime, because it's a smaller scale combiner than what Zeta's put out. Zeta and Magic Square and Toy World and DX9 and Fans Toys. This is a smaller scale, but yeah, definitely a high recommend and a really fun figure. So let's catch up with chat before we get into some of the entertainment and convention stuff going on. We got Big M hanging out. Good to see you, my friend. Saying howdy. We got Tris saying, Wagon, easy. I don't know what that... I'd have to translate that, but I'm guessing it means what's up or hello. We got Princeton Phalanx coming in saying hello. Good to see you, Princeton. Hope you're having a good night. We got Professor Soundwaves coming in saying hi, everyone. Always good to see you. We got Mario Roca coming in saying hello, Extra Zero. Good to see you, Mario. Hope you're having a good night. And yeah, I do agree. Yeah, the past few months have been a little bit hard for everybody. That's why we need escapism, and we just need senses of community. I think it's really good to have community wherever you are, whether it be going, knowing your neighbors. I was talking to a friend, part of Gronk Squad earlier, Cream NATO. We were talking about this, and I said, do you know your neighbors? And he's in Canada. And he said, yeah, he's fortunate. I said, because I only know my next door neighbors. And I think that's something that I need to improve. I just need to go. I've lived in this house since 2021. We are approaching the 4-year anniversary of moving into this house, and it's just like I just know my immediate 2 next door neighbors, and the other ones just never really introduced themselves. But I think that's something that so everybody's got to change. You got to have a sense of community. It's one of the reasons like why I like doing the meetups is just to get a face with people, get to know them, get to see the human element. I think we spend so much time. And maybe it's a little hypocritical because you're all watching me on a screen. I'm talking to a screen. But we spend so much time online that we don't get to know our fellow people. You don't get to know the people in your community. And I think because of that, and I could rant about this for a whole hour. I'm not going to. But I think because of that, like we become so disconnected and we forget how to treat people as other people. And I think that's something that's really missing from society. And it's just the irony of the internet's made us more connected, but it's also made us a lot less connected. And people just don't really know how to navigate interpersonal relationships anymore. And I think that, again, you can do the little things like get to know the people. If you see somebody, when you're out doing a toy hunt, say hi to them, smile, that sort of thing. Just start up a little conversation. You never know. I think people prioritize online friendships and appearances and being in groups more than they do, again, their communities and getting to know people and just that human experience, I think is lacking. But I'll move on from that. Again, I could go on about it, but that's just my 2 cents on it all. And we got Sandro coming in saying, extra, hear me out. Optimus Prime stroller. It already transforms, just a few improvements, and it's good to go. It's for the baby. She won't say no. Make it happen. We just got the stroller today, actually. That would be funny. I don't think my wife would co-sign on that, but when I meet Peter Cullen, maybe I'll bring that up to him in December. I think that would be a pretty funny conversation to have. Mega T-Rex are all saying MMC makes good figures. I agree. They're probably my top 3 in terms of third-party companies. It's them, Fans Hobby, and them, Fans Hobby, and I teeter. I don't necessarily want to say Fans Toys because lately Fans Toys has been this point. I'd say Magic Square. Magic Square has really grown on me. We got Stunning and Brave Megatron saying, oi, just paid off my XTB blades on Shozi. Can't wait to put him in arm mode and then never touch him till Hotspot and the combiner parts come out. I need to get him, and I need to get Paragon. I've been waiting on a sale for their first aid, and it just never happened. Because like Groove and Streetwise went on like deep discount. I was like, I'll wait for first aid, and he just hasn't gone on sale. Tris clarifies it means what's up, what's going on. And Tris also says, I know my neighbors, they're all gossipy and cuss each other out. Hey, at least there's still that sense of community, even if they cuss each other out, at least they still see each other face to face. I think that's the thing is like, even if they're cussing each other out, there's still probably got to be some element of respect. And these people probably also know not to cross a line and just to let people. I think that's the other thing too, is people just need to get their feelings out instead of bottling them up. And when people bottle up their feelings, that's when bad things happen. Stunning Brave says, make a trailer out of cardboard. I'm sure we'll probably have like one of those things that like, those little mesh things, those little, they're not trailers. What are they called? The little stowaway things on wheels. We'll probably have something. Maybe I can do Plastidip. Maybe that'd be funny to like make the stroller like look like Optimus Prime with Plastidip, and when she's upset about it, I can just peel it off. Peter, I don't know that Peter Cullen will say that. He'll probably just be like, make sure your wife's happy. If I had to guess, that he seems to be the type to say that. All right, well, let's get into some of the entertainment and convention news first. If you are going to TFCon Chicago, I'm jealous because I know a lot of people that are going now, and I'm again, it's just not in the cards. I don't even know if I'm going to Baltimore Comic-Con this year because I just I ended up spending what I was going to spend for Baltimore Comic-Con on the Steel City entry for myself, for my wife, and for the photo ops and the autograph. So I may not do Baltimore Comic Con, but if you are going to TFCon Chicago, which is coming up, I mean, it's next month, but next Wednesday will be October 1st. So it'll be here before we know it. Arthur Burghardt, who was the voice of Devastator and Destro, he's going to be there. I don't think he does very many convention appearances, and I know he's up there in age, so he'd definitely be one to meet. And I think it's really cool that he's going out there. He's going to be part of a Q&A panel. He's going to be doing autographs, and I'm assuming it's probably just going to be you go up to his table for the autographs and photos. Yeah, that's no pricing yet. I'm sure they'll have that as we get closer to the event, but really, really cool to see that he is going to be there. Now, we also have at Steel City, we've got Ron Perlman is going to be there. So interesting enough, you might be wondering, Ron Perlman, what was he? No, he was in the Machinima series. He was Optimus Primal, and then they brought him back to voice Optimus Primal and in the Rise of the Beast movie. Probably know him as Hellboy. What's really interesting is they're having a Terminator reunion with Michael Biehn, Edward Furlong, Linda Hamilton, and Robert Patrick. But they're also doing they're doing a Beauty and the Beast reunion as well. So no specific Transformers things, but if you're going to Steel City, hey, you have the opportunity to meet Optimus Primal in addition to Optimus Prime from Rise of the Beast. Of course, again, Gary Chalk will always be Optimus Primal to me. And then, unfortunately, we have a bit of sad news. Ron Friedman, who was a writer for Transformers and G.I. Joe, in addition to a lot of classic television, has passed away at the age of 93. This came out from Variety this morning. Unfortunately, again, they kind of put this here, but he also wrote for Andy Griffith, Bewitched, Gilligan's Island, The Odd Couple, Happy Days, My Favorite Martian, Get Smart, I Dream of Jeannie. I'm not familiar with The Ghost of Mrs. Muir, but The Partridge Family, Good Guys, That's My Mama. He had a very, very storied career. He was nominated for a Primetime Emmy. Just a multi-talented guy. 93 is a really, really, really good age. I unfortunately, I think he was having some health and finance issues. There was a GoFundMe for him that had been going on for the past couple of years to help him and his wife out with some moving expenses and, some of the medical related costs. I'm assuming they'll probably give that money over to his wife. So, sad that he's passed away. There's no updates really that I can see other than the news from Jared, who is the organizer, that he acknowledged his passing, that an update's going to follow. So I'd keep an eye on the GoFundMe. Maybe this will, go to help with some of his burial expenses. But sad news. But at least 93. It's a good run, and the man had a amazing career, and he will be missed. And really thank him for all of his contributions to the fandom. And then we'll go with some happier news. So I live in the state of Maryland, and everybody was blowing up my phone the other day about this and social media. We're getting a flagship Toys R Us here, not far from where I live. And this is amazing. So there's a large mall / outlet store called Arundel Mills that's probably about, I'd say about 35 minutes south of where I live now. And I'm not sure where this is going in the mall, but they are doing a flagship store. And I'm really, really excited for a few reasons. One, I've missed Toys R Us. Every time I go into Ollie's or a store that used to be a Toys R Us, I get nostalgic. And I think one of the things that just, kind of like made me sad, especially like when my wife and I started this journey to become parents, was just the thought that my kid's never going to get to experience Toys R Us. And I hope that this is successful, and I hope that this actually stays around for a while, because it's supposed to be a staple store. But again, if it doesn't do the business, then you might not be here long enough, might not be here the next 5 years, but I'm excited that my daughter will hopefully get to experience a Toys R Us while we're still in this state. So yeah, the article goes on to say the iconic retailer Toys R Us is returning to Maryland just in time for Christmas, and it's opening up this October. So next month, I should be able to go check it out. I'd like to go get some footage of that, just kind of see what they have to offer. Because all the ones that are in Canada and in Asia, they're awesome. It goes on to state that in 2022, the company launched pop-up shops within Macy's around the country, and I did visit those, and they were nothing remarkable. They basically were just like a section of the store that had the logo, but it was just, hey, we tossed some figures and toys, dolls, whatever in a clothing store. So Toys R Us is going to be opening up new stores in California, Colorado, Iowa, and Nebraska. Interesting choices. I'm really curious. I'm not familiar with the parent company, WHP Global, but I'm guessing that's the company that still operates them in Canada and overseas. But it's really cool to see, having a dedicated toy store is something that's solely been lacking. And, again, like as much as collectors might poo-poo this and go, oh, I just get my stuff online, I go to this shop, that shop. It really is nice to have that brick and mortar store. And if it's anything like what, Canada has, that's pretty exciting because they tend to be well stocked and tend to carry like the exclusives. And, it's also just a cool thing for kids to have because, again, the toy aisles in Walmart and Target just don't cut the mustard and don't have that same feeling like they really don't have that same feeling like the stores of the past used to, where you could go in a store and check out the toys and demo them, and there's just so much, and there's just a big sense of wonder and imagination. And I'm just really excited about that prospect of them coming back, them being successful, and my daughter getting to experience that. I really want that for her. So hopefully it's a sign of good things to come. And I'm really excited to check the store out, and hopefully it's as good as like what's there in Canada. And Stunning Brave says we have 80 Toys R Us's in Canada, and I'm jealous of that. I remember seeing Randy from Nerd Out. And this was back. This was back when one of the first movie masterpieces came out, and maybe it wasn't one of the movie masters. I can't remember what it was, but he and Brian and again, Randy's now just operating Nerd Out as a store, but he used to have a YouTube channel I really liked. And I met him a couple times at TFCon. Cool dude. They drove up to Toys R Us in Canada, and it was just cool to see. And it was like, oh man, I missed this so much. I still remember like when it was dying in 2018 and going in and be like, there goes my childhood, And at the time, I wasn't even really thinking about the future, but I'm very glad that, again, it's coming back, and I really hope it's successful. And we got Snap right joining us. Snap, it's good to see you, my friend. Hope you're having a great night. Pardon me, trying to stay hydrated here. Been really working on my water intake. So been slacking ever since the beach. Been really slacking. So last week, right after the show, we had Transformers Day. So Transformers Day was in the UK, and it was at the Battersea Power Plant of all places. Now we know why. This is interesting. So the next Titan that we're getting is based off of a real life power plant, the Battersea Power Plant. And, I'm sorry, the Battersea Power Station. I don't know that it's a plant. Power Station. This is a very, very interesting choice. And not only is it an Autobot based on a real life building, we get to pick the name. So the three names that they have up that you can vote on are Turbine Maximus, Metro Boss, and Autobot Powerplex. So I guess, I'm kind of like on this one, because when I say I'm on it, it's because it's like there's a lot of Titans I still want to see made. I want to see Fort Max and Metroplex get updates, and they've been doing a really good job at giving us some unexpected things, like, really unexpected things like the Grimlock that's coming out, the Nemesis, the Ark. I would like to see the Axelon from Beast Wars. And I worry about this because you're gonna do a mainline release and base it off of a real world location that not too many people were familiar with until last week. I mean, it's interesting that they're doing this, but again, like I also worry that a lot of people will be like, well, I don't have any connection to this. It's not a character that I want to see done in the scale because, like, again, there's a lot of stuff they could do. The animated Arc, or animated Omega Supreme rather, an update to Omega Sentinel from Energon. There are a ton of characters that I think people would like, and I hate to say they need to play it safe with the Titans, but if a Titan doesn't sell, that could give Hasbro the wrong impressions that they, we should abandon these or should do less or just resort to more repaints. So I hope this is a calculated risk. Now, what is interesting is this is also a weaponizer apparently, and he has multiple modes aside from turning into the power station. He can also be used for weapons for other Transformers. They did a full Q&A with Simon Furman, and Simon Furman's actually writing a little comic and backstory for this guy. It says that the new Titan story will be published in a new monthly comic in poster format. Again, we know the name's going to be decided through a fan vote. This is the first time that Furman's ever written a full story about a Titan, and previously he'd only written about Metroplex. There won't be any city speakers in this. The story takes place around 1986. By the time the Battersea Station was into disuse, the comic will be very G1. The Titan won't speak. He isn't Autobot nor Decepticon. Well, I guess the art just has an Autobot logo as a placeholder. The Titan is a weapon for anyone who can use it. Furman had to do a lot of research, and since he's got more stories and guidelines compared to the Marvel era, they want to give logic to the Titan's origins, not Oregon. Furman didn't give a clear answer about the presence of a Titan Master in the new story. Turbinus Maximus is Furman's favorite name. Fans asked about a transformable toy. Furman confirmed that there's no plans for it now, while he was polite to mention that if fans want it, Hasbro may make one. The Titan is a triple changer, robot, energy plant, and weapon for other Titans. His turbines are canceled. I'm a little confused here because I thought this was going to be the next Titan released as a figure. So I don't know. I guess I got a little bit of mixed messaging because, as far as like Arrowfire went there, I think everybody was kind of convinced this was going to be a toy with a story around it. So that's interesting. It goes on to say the Titan has no gender. It's so ancient and mysterious, even for the Transformers. Comes with from another planet in time. About the design, Battersea stakeholders had to approve the design. They seemingly had qualms about the Titan being a weapon of war, and they're going to explore the best they can about what it means to be a Titan in the 12 chapters. So, again, I have no doubt this will be a toy, but very interesting all around, and very interesting they made that the focal point of Transformers Day. And I guess that was to also kind of hide some stuff. So we talked about this last week about the price hikes, and unfortunately, the price hikes happened. So leaders have already hopped up to $60 in a lot of places. But we are getting that $42.99 Voyager price and the $27.99 Deluxe price. Now, Walmart, fortunately, as far as I'm aware, has not yet upped the prices. So I want to verify that real quick. And Grim Optimus, shout out to him. He actually found that out. It seemed like BBTS initially had all of these figures up for their regular retail price. And yes, it does appear that if you go over to the Walmart website, they have not upped their prices. So if you still want to pre-order these guys, you can save, a bit of money just going through Walmart. Now, challenge is going through Walmart. You never know when they're going to get them. They tend to honor their pre-order, window guarantees. But still, it's unfortunate. I talked about this a bit on Gronking on Dogs. I get that tariffs have caused issues and price hikes here and there, but there is an element to corporate greed. As many corners as they've cut in the brand, I don't want to beat a dead horse because I feel like I said a lot of it last week. I think that they're just being opportunists. And if you go online, anytime there's a product that's increasing its price, you have people in the comment section, tariffs, tariffs, tariffs. Thanks for the tariffs. Thanks to the people that voted for this. And again, whether, whatever side of the aisle you fall on, you can acknowledge that is a bit of it. But when you actually go in and look at the economics of things, the math isn't mathing. And I feel like a lot of companies and corporations know that they can raise prices, and there are consumers that are willing to excuse it for what it is and support it because it's the thing they like. And these companies are getting extra money despite the fact they've, again, we're getting leaders that are now the size of Voyagers. We're getting Voyagers that are the size of Deluxes. I mean, they've cut costs and they're passing additional costs along to us. And you look at like what Microsoft's doing in the industry right now. I mean, Microsoft, not to derail, but the Xbox Series X is hopping up to, I believe, $649. Well, I don't understand how they can justify that when, again, nothing against the Xbox, but it's been out for 5 years. The parts have gotten cheaper. The fact of the matter is a lot of those consoles are already sitting in warehouses and on stores. Nintendo did this too. They upped the price of the original Switch. And again, the original Switch, those consoles are already sitting in stores and warehouses. And, again, the Switch in particular uses an ancient processor, the Tegra X1, which was already old in 2017. And I love the Switch. And they did some amazing stuff with that processor. But come on. Now, I understand that with figures, there's a bit more overseas involvement, and these figures have an 8-month pipeline from design to production. But I do think that there's, given the cuts that they've made on the figures and the little nips and tucks they've made, I just think this is bad for consumers. I think this is bad for Hasbro. I think it's just corporate greed. I think it's short-sightedness, and I think that the only way to fix it is for people to vote with their wallets and just, buy less and send them the message, or buy from a store. I can't believe I'm saying buy from Walmart, but buy from the places that are selling these figures for what they really should cost. And I did pre-order this one because, again, the price hike on him wasn't too terrible. I'm going to sell the Netflix one to offset it. But yeah, we get a good in-hand look of the Studio Series 86 Soundwave. And he's looking pretty good. We get an approximate height. He comes in just under 7 inches. How he scales with the 86 Megatron, which basically looks perfect. You get a good look at Ravage. You get a good look at Laserbeak and Buzzsaw. And these guys do, unfortunately, parts form a little bit. Their little backpacks are separate plastic pieces, but I don't really think that's too much of a deal breaker because you could always just keep the original cassettes from Siege if you wanted to. And there's just some good looks of him all around. That's how he stacks up next to the 86 Blaster. And yeah, just I think he's an exciting figure. And again, price hike on him. I don't like that he went up $5, but I think this one at least, you do get quite a bit. And next up, we do get a sketch of the FanVote Shockwave. I believe Evan Brooks provided this. And this is the beast mode they settled on for Shockwave. And as you can kind of make out, it looks like he's not going to be a retool of the Skybite figure, but he's going to probably share a lot of the same engineering with the the legs becoming the jaws, the arms becoming the rear fin. And this is the first whale transformer we've ever gotten. We got kind of close with Torka back in Beast Wars Fusors, but Shockwave is going to be the shock whale. I kind of wish he was a hammerhead shark myself, and I would have been okay with like a retool of Skybite, or the retool, reused engineering. But I like this. I like this kind of one-eyed Sharkticon looking whale. It's neat. It's unique. I dig it. kind of curious what kind of backstory they'll give him. But yeah, definitely looking forward to seeing an actual figure here for this Shockwave. And then we get the Target Fall Geek Out. These figures are due out, I believe, October 3rd. And these are all reissues of kind of hard to find figures. They're doing a reissue of the Earthrise Sunstreaker, Thrust, and Gigawatt. And they're all coming in at their normal retail prices. I believe Sunstreaker is going to be $24.99. Thrust is going to be $34.99. And Gigawatt, I believe, is $49.99, which is, again, kind of steep. We can check in on Gigawatt real quick because I just want to make sure that I'm not $34.99. All right. I misspoke. December 3rd through the 8th is when he's going to be shipping, but he'll be releasing November 30th. But it looks to be a straight up reissue from that figure 2020. $34.99, I think, is actually pretty good for one of the collab figures. But yeah. T-Rex Rawl is asking how big will Shockwave be. I'm pretty sure he's probably going to be the same height, save for the head crest, as Skybite, especially if they're sharing similar engineering. I'd wager on that, especially since he doesn't have the backpack. And not to be outdone, Walmart is also quietly releasing some reissues with the Studio Series Dark of the Moon Bumblebee, as well as the Earthrise Run Amok. So, yeah, if you missed out on those, they're showing up in Walmarts right now. I'm curious if they'll do Runabout as well. It's interesting that they're just doing Run Amok. I always thought Runabout was the harder one to find, but again, if you missed out on either of those, I'm sure the Bumblebees are probably going to be clogging up the pegs because that mold got minor changes. I think everybody has it, and they didn't get multiples. But yeah, if you're looking for those, opportunity, and again, they're coming in at $25 each. And I do agree, Stunning Braves, right? They could have made him a Megalodon, a Megatron Megalodon. That would be neat. And thanks to Mark Colonis, we get a good look at Amalgamus Prime in his behind the scenes. And Amalgamus is pretty cool. He kind of gives me some Diaclone vibes. He's the first Voyager weaponizer that we've gotten. And you can just do all kinds of stuff with this guy. And I think the sky is going to be the limits for the fan modes you can pull off with him. And I really dig him. I'm really digging him. This tank mode's really cool. This like kind of frog mode's neat. Like a frog tank. You can do like a little base mode. And you can even see you can see a Titan Master in there. You know. Definitely neat. Definitely giving me like Diaclone vibes. And oh god, what was the name of the guy from Masters of the Universe? Oh, was it Modulok in Masters of the Universe? I definitely get some Modulok vibes, and that would be cool if they did like a crossover Modulok, like just replace this with a double head. That would be really neat to do like a Masters of the Universe crossover, like whatever this like Happy Crab mode is. Man, I dig it. I like how you can just kind of do anything with this guy. So I'm pretty hyped for Amalgamus Prime. Not gonna lie. Then we get a look at the Audley Action Elite Wave 3. And Audley's putting out these little model kits, right? And I got to mess with one at the last meetup. T-Man had the Starscream. We're getting some cool ones. We're getting a Shattered Glass Prime, a toy or comic Galvatron, however you want to recognize them. A reformatted Megatron, Scourge, Hot Rod, regular Galvatron, Bombshell, I always forget Stepper and Brawn of all characters. So those will be coming out relatively soon. And again, those stand at about 13 centimeters. It says 13 to 5.5 centimeters. I'm guessing Brawn's going to be a little guy, but they're just neat. And they're not even really model kits. They come pre-put together, save for their accessories. But they're cheap and they're neat. And then also from Audley, they're doing a larger scale figure. They're doing their first in the AAM scale, and this is it's Ricochet in the States. So Audley is doing, and they're just showing off the gray prototype. This looks to be a heavily Studio Ox inspired Optimus Prime, and he's coming in just under 14 inches tall. And I'm not sure whether this is going to be a proper model kit or it's going to be a pre-built figure. But it's a neat looking Prime. The only issue I have is the wheels on the butt. And I believe Studio Ox did that. In fact, let me fact check myself on that. I'm kind of certain now that I was thinking about it that he did have wheels on the butt. But even still, I'm not a big fan of that design. Hopefully they can come off. Hopefully they're just on like little pegs. But it also looks like they're, movable on there. You can see like what that strut there. It looks like you can probably move it to the sides. But you're getting really articulated hands and opening chest. I believe he has LEDs and 66 articulation points. So, and he does not transform. But yeah, they're going to be showing off more of this next month at the Wonderfest in Shanghai. So, kind of exciting to see what all they're going to have there. And then YOLO Park, I believe the pre-orders for this just went live, and that toy guy showed it off. But their AMK Pro Optimus Prime / Orion Pax model kit, and again, YOLO Park does model kits where you just kind of pop the arms on and piece things together. But this is a less stylized. And actually, no, that toy guy didn't review this. He did the Blockies one. I think the Blockies one went up for pre-order today as well. But this one does give you the option too, where you can swap the parts out and make him Orion Pax or Optimus Prime. And again, this has movable fingers, whereas the Blockies one actually has swappable hands. And, you can hold his matrix proper. He's got LEDs. He's got the, proper looking axe that none of the toys got correct. And he's going to come pre-painted. It's going to have die cast. And, apparently this like push mechanism to open up his matrix chamber, which is pretty cool. So yeah, YOLO Park does put out good products. I've actually had their Starscream, the AMK Pro Starscream, I got on deep discount while Lance was here. He's been my desk bot for the past several weeks, so I can definitely vouch for the quality of YOLO Park, and the fact they come with stands is pretty awesome. I gotta get his LEDs working. Gotta find a battery for that. But definitely cool to see more Transformers 1 merchandise coming out. And again, that's showing off here. You can switch them over to Orion Pax and just kind of a side by side, just popping those parts apart. Yeah, so definitely cool. I think he's probably going to run about, $60-70. So there you go. Then we don't normally talk about them, but we're getting more Transformers G1 Funko Pops with Skywarp, Nemesis Prime, Cup, and Springer. They just have codes, so nothing really there. And there was another Funko Pop. Yeah, here we go. This one's actually kind of interesting. They're doing a Transformers Magic the Gathering Funko Pop collaboration, which you get this interesting. I like this pose for him. I have a couple of the Optimus Funko Pops, and he does come with this backdrop display and stand. It's going to be $24.99. It's going to be an Amazon exclusive coming out this December, and I'm not really sure what it has to do with Magic the Gathering, whether it comes with a card or what. I know that they're tossing in Magic the Gathering stuff, like Final Fantasy VII Remake Integrate. If you buy it on the Switch 2, you get a Magic the Gathering pack. So I'm guessing they'll probably throw in some Magic the Gathering card. I'll probably pick this up at $24.99. It's pretty cheap. I'll probably just keep it in the box and kind of put it up on display. But yeah, it just comes with the art is based off of Magic, one of the cards. Then if you're going to Universal Studios, and I will be hopefully next year, they have new merchandise, and people have found it at the Universal Studio store in Orlando. The t-shirts are $33, the hoodies are a steep $70, and I don't know why you'd want a hoodie while you're in Orlando, but I digress. Kids shirts are $28. You can get a hat for $29, a laptop sleeve for $22, or a bag, charm, or pouch for $20. To be honest, I'll probably get a shirt when I'm there. Granted, it just has the Nest stuff on the back, so I'd probably get that. The hoodie just kind of, I don't know, not for $70. Kind Kind of has like the urban camo inside. I guess that's the kid shirt. There's the hat. If I was a hat guy, that's actually not bad. There's the laptop sleeve. And then you can get the little bag. So there you go. But what I am interested in, I probably will hit my dude Angry Canadian up for because he's in Japan. But Games Glorious and Thunderbox, which are a Japanese apparel store, or a couple of Japanese apparel stores, they're going to be carrying this Mystery of Convoy collaboration stuff. If you don't know, Mystery of Convoy was this really crappy game on the NES where you played as Ultra Magnus. And the Angry Video Game Nerd famously did a video for it. But they've got a lineup with T-shirts, stickers, acrylic pixel art characters, hats, and jackets. I kind of really want like one of these T-shirts. I kind of like want the Megatron one just because it's like so chintzy looking. Though the game screen one's interesting too, and the acrylic guys are neat. I'm sure they're probably going to be a little expensive. But I also do like this title screen one as well. It'd be cool if they came out with a replica of the cart. I'd like to have that, even though the game's awful. But yeah, this stuff's pretty neat. And there's the jacket. It's like kind of like a varsity jacket. I think that's kind of tacky. And there's the Famicom game there. Doesn't look like they're doing a repro of that. Unless are they doing that down the line? No. It'd be cool if they did like a just a prop of the Famicom game, like a rerun of it. But yeah, that's a neat store exclusive. I'm sure AC will probably see this and he'll probably be like, I gotcha. So hopefully we can make that happen because I definitely would like these shirts would be cool to have. Not gonna lie. And whatever the whatever this clear file is, I don't know. But that does it for official news. Let's catch up with chat real quick, and we'll move over to the third-party stuff before we wrap it up tonight. So, let's see what we got here. Let's see. Mario saying, also, I'm curious if you've been caught up with Transformers Skybound. They dropped issue 24 in the ending of the first run of the comics by Darren Warren Johnson and Robert Kirkman taking over. I have it. I have not had time to read it, but I do have it, and I do plan on carving out some time. And I've really enjoyed the run, and I've managed to avoid spoilers. I've heard some people say 24 is really, really good. And then my buddy Junkie on Crafts and Build said it was so we'll see. But I'm going to read it. I need to do that sooner rather than later. And yes, we do have NYCC coming up in a couple weeks, and apparently that's where the Armada Nemesis Prime is going to go up for pre-order. And I don't disagree with Megatex Raw here, saying Voyagers are almost unaffordable, and I think that $42.99 price tag definitely puts them there. So. For me, it's either going to be Walmart or bust, and I hope Amazon. I really hope Amazon goes, okay, yeah, we'll match that. Got that one from Stunning and Brave, and Mario saying that the idea for Shockwave's new whale mode is from one of the pages in the comics in Skybound where he's obsessed with seeing organic life on it. That does make sense. That does make sense. They did have other designs from too. Like I saw there's a squid design, but I do like the whale. Stunning Frame saying the wheels in the butt go round and round, and calling him Glutamus Prime. We got Boss Hog hanging out saying, "Oi, good to see you, Boss Hog. Hope you're having a good night, my dude." And Mario is saying the only two studio series for 2026 that haven't gone for pre-order are the Windcharger and Thundercracker. Yeah, and unfortunately, we also haven't seen finalized versions of them yet, just the renders. But on the topic of Studio Series 86, this came up to my attention. This apparently came out, and there's videos floating around. But this is, I'm assuming it's Black Mamba, but this is an upscaled Sentinel Prime from Studio Series designed to fit in with a Masterpiece collection. I love TF Safari to death, but I really hate the fact you can't zoom in too well on pictures on their site. But if you missed out on Sentinel Prime, or you've been looking for an affordable version as a stand-in for your, movie masterpiece, this could be it. So this guy comes in at $94.99, not $159.99. I guess they're trying to get people to go like, oh, hey, look, the increase from tariffs is gone here. He's not really on sale. He just came out, but they gave him like the proper wings. I'm waiting on reviews for this guy, but he does transform, and the fire truck mode looks pretty good. So be interesting to see more on that and get a good QC overview. I can tell you, Bolt Matrix just got that third-party Quick Strike and was telling me it's not very good and fell apart on him. The one that was like kind of like an upscaled version of the original toy with some added bells and whistles that was meant to be masterpiece scale. We got this over on Weibo. Dr. Wu is putting out a Micromaster scale G2 Optimus with the trailer. This is looking pretty good. So far, all we've got is a render, but Dr. Wu tends to put their stuff out pretty quick. I love G2 Optimus Prime. I'm sure they're going to get a Scourge out of this as well. So I'm looking forward to seeing, and this might be the first one I get, especially since they did, it would probably be the Scourge mold, especially since they did Legends for the first time with Robots in Disguise. Then Ocular Max posted this over on their Facebook page. So we got word on Deletus, which is their version of Scrapper. And it says that he's going to be coming out November. Yeah, this is interesting. I'm guessing there'll probably be early samples at TFCon Chicago, given how MMC tends to operate. But, it goes on to say that, he's an all-in-one combiner, which we knew. That's how all their combiners operate. No additional parts to form Destructor. They're named for Devastator's right leg. Just PR speak here. But we get a good look at what will inevitably be the final product. And after seeing the X-Transbots one up close, I do love MMC. I was originally thinking about getting these guys to be my bot mode ones, but I don't know. The proportions for these seem off. And, I started off the episode saying, MMC is probably, top 3 favorite third-party company for me. This just doesn't look to be it. So I'm curious, how he's going to fare in hand with reviews. I've seen how big these guys are, and they're kind of about the same size as the Fans Toys offering. I mean, cool gimmicks here with this little wrist communicator and all. And, of course, it comes with this horn from the movie, as I think all of the MP Constructicons have. Vehicle mode looks all right. It seems like they're really going for the combined and the robot mode, prioritizing those. But, yeah, I don't know. I don't think this one's for me. I mean, leg mode looks fine. I've seen the combined one in person, at TFCon Baltimore, though I don't think at the time the preview one there had the wheel details. It was like a resin one. But yeah, there's a look at the final version from Ocular Max. Then from DNA Designs, more Devastator stuff. A lot of people have been complaining about the offset knees on the Studio Series Devastator. And it looks like DNA Designs has updated everybody to let them know that they have centered the legs. So not quite sure how they're going to pull this off, because it looks like they're just kind of sitting on blocks. It looks like there's probably just going to be a new connector port that's going to make them even taller. But for anybody that's finding that to be problematic on them, you finally have a solution coming from DNA Designs. And then from X-Transbots, their version of Blades, Gian, is coming soon. Looks like he'll be coming next month. And we've got a packaging picture, as well as looks like a reissue of Paragon. So cool stuff there. And not to be outdone, Ocular Max is doing their toy deco of Ventus. And, we get a look at how he's going to be with the new head sculpt and everything. That's kind of funny when you transition over. Hey! But yeah, if you're into the toy decos, they've got that coming for you. I know a lot of people really liked their toy decos for their Defensor set. And to wrap things up, we've got a look at and this comes courtesy of TM Reviews, the fantastic model Warhorse. Looks like he'll be shipping out very soon as well. That's Fans Toys take on an Ironhide. So we get a look at the final box, and we also get a look at the final version of the figure. And I think he looks all right, save for the chest. I think that there's, again, it might just be the lights. Now, I'm not getting this guy. I have the official Ratchet and Ironhide, and I'm just kind of done. I'm over, like, if I own an official figure, I'm not replacing it with a third party, with the exception of, like, Trax, a figure that desperately needs it. But honestly, I like the official Masterpiece Ironhide enough that I don't need to replace him. Same with Ratchet. And also, I have the DK Guard. But there's just, aside from the chest, I don't know, just some of the proportions on him seem kind of off. I mean, I'm sure there's going to be a lot of people that are looking forward to this, and it does probably have a lot more modern articulation. You can pull off the toy mode as well. But I feel like this chest just kind of ruins the look, and I wish that they came with, like, a clear piece where the back was, like, painted silver or something, or maybe had a little bit more tint. But yeah, I mean, I'm sure there's going to be a lot of people that are going to gush over this and be excited and hype for it. And if you're excited for it, I'm happy for it. I'm sure you could put a piece of paper behind there and fix it. But in the case of, myself and my tastes, this one's going to be a pass for me. Like, again, the sled looks better, but again, I'm happy with what I got, and also too, I got to be a bit more choosy with my purchases with the little one on the way. So. Yeah, and Stunning and Brave coming in saying, sharing the same sentiment, saying a little underwhelmed by the FT Ironhide, not a fan of the windshield. And Mega T-Rex saying, you think with MMC being all in one, they would be bigger. Actually, those Constructicons that MMC is putting out. Oh, you mean like in general? Yeah, like the Bruticus bits and Bruticus and Defensor. Yeah, Devastator is going to be in scale with them. He's not that much bigger. At TFCon Baltimore, he was next to the Assaultus and the Defensor, and he really wasn't that much bigger. He's like a head bigger. You'd think he'd be a lot bigger, being made up of 6 bots, but yeah. But yeah, I am kind of sad they didn't go with like that Zeta scale, because I think that the MMC Defensor is just a really, really good figure all around. So, yeah. And Sonny Brave saying, yeah, the windows are killing it for him. And yeah. Again, I'm sure somebody's going to paint them and be like, look, I made it better. But still, it just doesn't work for me. And again, like, I'm sure with it being Fans Toys, that's another thing too, is the Takara Tomy one, that transformation is so easy. And if you get the Shadow Fisher kits, and I hope they do a reissue of those, because, again, DK Guard just came out. I never got the Ratchet or the Ironhide Shadow Fisher kits, and I should have. Those kits really make Ironhide Ratchet. It solves the wheels on the butt problem and gives them like a much better torso. So, yeah. There's also been KO versions of them as well. But with that, I think that's a good place to wrap up tonight's episode. So, again, if you're watching me here live, again, thank you. Thanks to everybody in the chat who came in and hung out tonight. I always love making you guys part of the conversation. And if you like this episode, make sure you smash that like button, because it does help me out in the algorithm. There's also the hype button now. If you like what I'm doing here, maybe consider hitting that hype button. And if you're not already subscribed, hopefully tonight's the night that I earned your subscription. If you're watching me here on the replay, again, don't forget to like, subscribe if you haven't already, share the video, hype it, drop a comment. I love when people leave comments. I tend to respond to about every comment that I get, and really appreciate people that watch the replays. So thank you very much. And with that, I've been Extra Zero. It's been a lot of fun, and I can't wait to see you all on the next one. Until then, Zero out.